this Friday, where we get eminent reporters in the newsroom and of course across the Nation Media Group to come and give us perspective and insight on the issues of the day. Today on Postscript, we are making 2 years of intense reporting on missing persons. Now, the whole idea of missing persons is something that is disturbing, and of late we've seen an increase in the number of people missing. Every 3 or 4 days you see in the newspapers or on social media that so and so is missing, was last seen at this point and cannot be traced, and 4 days down the road still not seen. Unfortunately, for some cases it comes out that either the toddler or even a bigger adult has been found dead in very unexplainable circumstances. So today we want to understand where we are in terms of that vice, but also see the human interest in it. There are those that have surfaced after missing for many days and indeed weeks. Our very own Patrick Senyondo, a reporter with the Nation Media Group, is here to help us understand, because he's been covering the things. A very warm welcome to the program, Mr. Patrick Senyondo. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank
How
you
are we doing?
I'm very fine. How are you?
First, bring us up to speed with the state of affairs when it comes to missing persons in the country right now.
Okay. So, cases still exist, but the only difference at the moment is that these cases were previously missing person. That word missing persons came after people branded arrests as abductions and kidnaps.
Interesting. People branded arrests as abductions.
Abductions.
Are we referring to the drone when
no, I mean, there's various ways it has happened. It's not only drones, and let's not shorten it to drones.
Okay.
So yes, Patrick.
Yeah, I would say that word missing persons would not be there if people had not branded it as abductions and kidnaps. But this emanates from the fact that the mode of the arrests were a bit different from the previous arrests.
Yeah.
This is when somebody is arrested, the person arresting doesn't reveal himself. The person is taken where the family doesn't know, not a designated place.
That's right.
Then, in addition, the people who conducted the arrest go beyond the mandatory hours of producing that person.
The 48.
To court, yes. So in that case, the family doesn't know what is happening, so they have to brand that a missing person, but that person was arrested by authorities.
All right.
People thought to be authorities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Allow me to trace back to where this journey began for you. Could you share with us about the first case that you dealt with of a missing person as a reporter?
The first case was a spare parts dealer who was working in Chiseka Market. It's called Damalira. So this is a person who was got from his place of work in Chiseka Market with a son. They were working together with the son, and taken away in a drone. They were masked. They could not see anything. They couldn't even tell where they were taken. And somewhere, the son says he was dropped along the way. He had to find his way back home. But the father disappeared to the present. So when the family tells you such a story, especially if it involves a son who was still in school, you even feel like shedding tears.
Yeah.
That was my first experience. You go to the family, the boy gives you his experience, then you go to the people the husband was providing for in the family. They have nothing to eat because this was a breadwinner. So the task now fell on the son to continue pursuing the works of the dad to provide something for the family to eat.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he dropped school,
Yeah, he
went
had
back to
drop school,
Chseka
he had to
and
drop school
continued with the
so
father's
as
business.
to concentrate on business and provide something to eat
Yeah.
for the family up to now.
So then this brings me to the question of, while you've been doing this investigative kind of work, what has been your experience, especially in having to relate with these families while sourcing for information that could go a long way in helping the story you're trying to build, but also perhaps aiding in them finding their people?
Initially, families were suspicious. They looked at a journalist as maybe part of the people who
collaborator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe they thought you were going to reveal more information.
More information, yeah.
So they were suspicious. They could hold back, not give you the information until you had to find a way of convincing these people you are a person who has come to give them a voice.
You're
because they are
working in their
voiceless.
best interests.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is how it was a bit hard to get information from them. Then too, a lot of fear was instilled in these families when their people were arrested.
In other words, when you say a lot of fear was instilled, away from the sheer trauma of getting to learn that your loved one has been abducted or taken away unceremoniously, to the reality that you will either be called by the security forces or unknown persons and threatened not to do a follow-up or even ask questions. Does it reach a point where, for example, people have resigned? If somebody has been abducted, they're like, okay, let's wait for fate. If he returns, well and good. If he doesn't, we shall do some small protests and then see whether journalists can take it on.
No, as I think as time went on, people got to know the procedure. If my person goes missing under circumstances unknown, one, you'd get to a family, they tell you, we report it to our LC chairperson, and if they fail to get any information there, they will tell you we proceeded to police, and if the police doesn't have the information, the area police, they would proceed to another police station, and maybe they would go beyond that. So people got to know the procedure that could be followed if somebody went missing. So I was happy about that. Then it is only after that that people would now begin thinking of alternatives. Maybe we can now think of demonstrating. People even went to court. We saw mothers, we saw sons, daughters going to court and yelling, crying for their loved ones to be brought back.
Okay, in regards to the cases that you have reported on right now, how many have surfaced back to their families, and how are they faring on with life?
I concentrated much in areas of Buama and in Piji. That area had more than 20 people who were missing.
Wow.
But I could not touch all of them, so I concentrated on about 7, and I am happy they all resurfaced after our intervention. Because we would follow up, keep following up until they all returned. And Ugandans, I think, they are gifted with moving on quickly. Yes, that is what I experienced.
We move on quickly, even when we have been...
You easily forget and carry on with life.
So they've moved on, or they're like...
Yes, there's even...
No follow-up for justice?
No, they just move on. They concede, this happened, they just move on. I have a family in Buama that is interesting because they even began cracking jokes about the arrests and disappearances of their beloved ones.
I mean, it goes back to show you how Ugandans massage their pain. Yeah, we massage our pain with a lot of joking and making a fun out of it.
There's a family, there's a lady called Sharon Kangume. The husband was abducted when she was expecting. And to my surprise, she gave birth before the husband resurfaced. And she went on to name the daughter a drone. Jokingly.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
So you're trying to tell us that there's a child in Buama
There's a child called
Yes, there's
drone.
a child called Drone in Buama.
I beg Ugandans.
Yes, that is how
Wow.
I tell
That's
people.
how she dealt with the situation.
Yes, she dealt
Wow,
with it.
that's
Uh,
peculiar, I must say. Okay,
Was
so
it easy? No, just sorry about that. Was it easy collecting information, especially from the police? Do they cooperate when somebody has been abducted or goes missing, and here you are, a journalist, asking for information on their whereabouts?
Now, like I told you, it wasn't easy from even the point of the source.
No, the source is different.
the
You
person-
can understand their
Yes,
trauma.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
The person you are getting the information from, because you rely on the source's information to
Yeah.
go and find out
And
more
find
from
out.
police. So you could hardly get the right information from the source until that person gets to know that you are there to help him.
To help him or her.
Or her. So when you go to police, what we got from the ground was that whenever a person went to report to police and sounded the word, a drone came and picked my relative, police would hesitate a bit to register
To register that case.
that case. So as a reporter, you are also now blocked. The police will say, we don't have anything about that. The case wasn't registered. Or they would refer you to somebody superior.
Somebody superior.
Yes.
And at that point,
And at that point, when you try to cross-check, they tell you, they refer you back. Get the right information from
in other
the
words,
ground before
okay.
you get this side.
Interesting.
So something became
I won't ask you this, but what I see is a deliberate effort by the security forces, and people are supposed to investigate these disappearances and abductions of, taking it off themselves in terms of being able to provide this information.
Again, because presumably it wasn't really, orchestrated by police. So therefore, for them to take it on would be a sensitive one for them. I believe that it also put them a lot in the hot spot as far as law and order is concerned. But when it comes to solutions, because this cannot be the story we tell, this cannot be the situation that then enables us to have children out there named Drone. From how you have interacted with the people, the authorities and concerned agencies and ministries, what has been done in fighting this matter so far?
I would say police tried to finally investigate and register some cases. But there are more cases that were not investigated because some people have, much as some people have resurfaced, there are still people who are not anywhere to be found. Around Kampala, I know of people like Damulira said, of Salama, who was picked from Chiseka. There's Michael Semudu, who was picked from Masanafu. There's Hassan Mubiru, picked from Kawala. We made all those reports, but these people are nowhere to be seen. So you wonder what police is doing about that. We need a concrete answer about that. Let the investigators come out to tell us these people are dead, these people are here. But we are living.
Oh, they are criminals and we are
Yes,
holding
and
them on
yes.
that account.
But then you'd be holding them illegally because that is beyond the mandatory hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see Parliament is still grappling with this. Every after some time, people report back to Parliament about the missing persons. The story has not yet ended. So that means there is something that needs to be done so that we come to the conclusion. Families need to know whether their people are there or not. Yeah.
Now, this is a very critical cluster of investigative reporting, and over the years, investigative reporting requires a lot of resources. Nation Media Group, I do not know how to ask the question, but you've experienced challenges in doing this kind of reportage. Can you take us through how the preparations are undertaken, especially on the part of the team, as you go out to source what is no doubt very sensitive information?
Yep, preparations, they are normal preparations. You need the gadgets. You have the gadgets. You have the camera. Maybe somewhere when you need something too much investigative, where you need to get information privately, that might be a bit hard. In terms,
let me be very specific. For example, a hidden camera.
Yes.
Do we have these ones to be able to help us get these stories right?
Yeah, we have. We have. You can. Somewhere you can even improvise.
Yeah.
And get to that point.
Okay, so with all these interactions that you've had here and there, how has this sharpened your skills, and what has this reporting impacted on your professionalism?
One is paying much attention to detail.
Yeah.
In these kind of reports, you have to get the facts right. The moment you misrepresent facts, you know you are also in danger. You are not a meter away from a drone. But when you have facts right, you are sure you are protected. So I know I got to that point. That is another skill I gained, paying much attention to the detail. Yes. Okay.
All right. The stories that you have worked on, in terms of family setting, children, as parents, if the parents are missing, how have the other family members or extended relatives come in to help?
Their extended families have at least tried to help the person who is suffering after the relative, maybe husband has been abducted. Yeah. They provide food, but they are still struggling. Okay. I know a family in Kawala of Hassan Moviru. The wife was operating a laundry, but the landlord was patient a bit up to some point when she was evicted. Up to now, I don't know where she went. Her contacts
changed.
We are off up to now. When you want to make a follow-up, you don't even know where to find her. But the husband has not yet appeared. Okay. But the community always tried to be with these people, provide them with food, provide them with support, social, psychological, and whatever.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for giving us insight and allowing us to go into the world of some Ugandans that have fallen victim of this quote-unquote abductions that have happened. But then I guess the final question we want to find out from you is your own security, because what you're dealing with is a very sensitive subject.
Very sensitive indeed.
This is something that unmasks more evil than good in one way or another, because if you say that police is refusing to report about it, to register the cases, that is unmasking something. So have you not feared for your own life?
Yeah, there's even a day I was there's a story I did, I reported about the abductions, and I was living here at the station and I saw a drone in our parking. Wow. I was going through the eastern gate and I had to change to go through the western because I lived in fear. Yeah. Recently, around May, I also got an attack along the way. I thought maybe it was part of that,
innocent,
but I think these were just thugs.
No more. You just found yourself in line of
yes.
the thugs on their own.
So you live in fear, but always you are under the protection of God if it is not your day.
If it's not your day. Yes. And then, just forgive me, but I have to make sure that this is well understood. There are missing persons who are not victims of state abductions. an innocent 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old has gone missing on the village. These stories are also very common these days. How do you deal with those ones?
I am happy that whenever such stories come out, when you report, it doesn't take even a year. No, a year is too long. It doesn't even take several months. Police will zero down to the victims, to the person, to find out what happened.
In other words, police is quick on these ones.
Yes, it is. I don't know why, but you'll find police zeroing down to the persons, and those persons will be arrested. But these other abductions were politically motivated, because we're getting to elections. So it is always a trend that towards elections and a few months after elections, there is that political dust
that
has to settle. Then the situation gets to come.
All right. Many thanks, Patrick Senyondo, for the insight and perspective on what is no doubt a vice that is allegedly orchestrated by unknown security operatives in the country. The police has not been forthcoming on that particular issue, but of course we shall continue to amplify this particular issue to the society and to the powers that be, so that Ugandans can stop living in fear, especially